Hey guys, welcome to Y&R Daily Update YouTube channel. Today's topics: The Young and the Restless spoilers, shock. Audra sat at the edge of Cane's desk, her face stir with tears. Her hands trembled as she wiped her eyes, glancing up at Cane, who had been unusually silent during her outburst. It had taken everything in her to hold it together for this long. She had been trapped in a world of deception, a world where every smile, every gesture, every word had been calculated. For months, she had lived under the weight of a secret so heavy that it gnawed at her every waking moment. But today, in the privacy of Cane's office, her mask slipped. "I can't keep doing this anymore, Cane," she confessed, her voice breaking. "I've been lying to everyone, to myself. Victor's betrayal, it's too much." Her tears welled up again, but she wiped them away, determined not to let her vulnerability show. Cane, ever the calm and collected one, stood at the window, his back to her. He had known this moment was coming. Audra had been unraveling slowly, and he'd been the one holding the threads together, but he wasn't ready for this. Not yet. Audra Cane began, his voice low and measured. "I've told you before, we cannot let anyone know the truth. Not yet. We have a plan, and it's all we've got. You can't throw it away because of a few emotions. We have to stay strong." His tone was one of authority, but there was an underlying edge of desperation. His eyes were cold, calculating, but there was a flicker of concern beneath his veneer of control. "I can't live like this." Audra's voice was louder now, full of pent-up frustration. "I've been Victor's pawn, and I've been playing the game with him for too long. And now I have to pretend to be something I'm not. It's suffocating." She stood up, pacing the room, her steps quick and erratic. "And then there's Kyle. I can't even look at him the same way anymore. I don't even know who I am anymore." Cane. Cane finally turned to face her. His face was unreadable, but his eyes held a storm of emotions. He walked over to her slowly, stepping into her space, and placed his hand gently on her shoulder. "You're stronger than this, Audra. You knew what you were getting into when you married me. You knew what this was." Audra flinched at his touch, her eyes searching his face for something, anything, that would assure her that the path they were on was the right one. "You want me to keep pretending, to keep lying to everyone? For you, for Victor, for a plan that might never even happen?" Her voice cracked again, and she looked away, afraid that if she looked into Cane's eyes, she might crumble completely. "Don't know who I am anymore, Cane? I don't recognize myself." Cane's expression softened, but only for a moment. "You're Audra Deepness, you're my wife, and we have a future where we control everything. Where we're finally free from all of this. We have the power, Audra. You have the power." He stepped closer, his face inches from hers, and lowered his voice to a whisper. "Don't forget why we're doing this." Audra swallowed hard, feeling the weight of his words. She had come into this marriage with the belief that she could handle it, that she could be a part of something bigger, something important. But now all of it seems so hollow. She had spent months feeding lies to everyone, but the truth was eating her alive. "I can't pretend anymore. Not for you. Not for Victor. Not for anyone," she whispered almost to herself. Cane's eyes narrowed, a flicker of anger crossing his face. But it was quickly masked by a cold resolve. "If you betray me now, Audra, there's no going back. There's no turning this around. We both lose." "I'm not betraying you," she countered, sharply, her voice rising in defiance. "I'm freeing myself." She stood tall, her shoulders squared. "I've made my decision." Before Cane could respond, the door to his office creaked open, and Victor Newman's imposing figure filled the doorway. His presence alone sent a shiver down Audra Unk's spine. She had never been able to shake the feeling of being watched by him, even when he wasn't physically present. Victor's piercing gaze swept over both of them, his eyes narrowing as he absorbed the tension in the room. Audra's heart raced. She knew that Victor had been keeping tabs on her, but she hadn't expected him to overhear this conversation. Well, Victor's voice was smooth, but there was an unmistakable edge of surprise in his tone. "Subscribe our channel for more latest updates. It seems there's more going on here than I thought." He stepped further into the room, closing the door behind him with a deliberate click. "A little chat between husband and wife, I presume, or should I say conspirators?" Audra stiffened and Cane's jaw clenched. Neither of them spoke for a moment. The silence in the room was thick, palpable, and it felt as though the walls were closing in around them. Cane was the first to break the silence, his voice steady, but laced with frustration. "Victor, This is between Audra and me. You're not welcome here. Victor smirked, unfazed by Cane's attempt to dismiss him. Oh, I think I have every right to be here. After all, I've invested far too much in this little plan of yours to let it slip through my fingers now. Audra's eyes flashed with defiance. She was done being manipulated, done being a pawn in Victor's game. You've betrayed me, Victor. All along, you've been pulling the strings and playing me like a fool, but I'm done. Her voice was steady now, filled with the strength she had been trying to find within herself for months. I'm not your puppet anymore. Victor's eyes widened slightly, and for a brief moment, the ever-present smirk on his face faltered. Then, as quickly as it had disappeared, it returned. Audra, he said, his voice dangerously low. You have no idea what you're dealing with. I know exactly what I'm dealing with, she shot back. And I'm done with it. Victor stepped back, his gaze flicking between the two of them. It was clear that this was a situation he hadn't anticipated. His mind raced as he tried to calculate his next move. Cane and Audra had become a problem, a dangerous liability. He couldn't afford to let them slip from his grasp. This is far from over, Audra, Victor said, his voice cold and final. You'll regret this. Audra met his gaze head-on, not flinching. I'm already past the point of regret. With that, she turned to Cane, her voice now full of resolve. We're done, Cane. I'm going to make sure the world knows the truth. You can't control me anymore. Cane's eyes darkened, but he said nothing. His plans had been so meticulously crafted, so carefully orchestrated. And now, in the blink of an eye, everything was falling apart. Victor's voice cut through the tension, sharp and clear. You've made a terrible mistake, Audra, and you're about to pay for it. With those words hanging in the air, the room seemed to freeze. Cane, Audra, and Victor stood locked in a standoff, the weight of their choices bearing down on them. This was only the beginning. The secrets, the lies, and the betrayals were far from over. In fact, they had only just begun. This expansion keeps the tension and emotions at the forefront with a focus on character motivations and the escalation of the plot. If you need further adjustments, feel free to let me know. Audra's fury had been building for weeks, but today, it was finally reaching its boiling point. She paced back and forth in the dimly lit living room, the storm inside her mirrored in her every movement. Her thoughts were spiraling, her emotions running rampant. She had tolerated Cane's secrecy for too long, his cold detachment that had left her questioning everything about their marriage. But what truly stung, the knife twisting deeper with every passing day, was the subtle but undeniable affection he had for Lily. Audra could see it in his eyes, in the way he spoke of her, in the times he seemed to care more for Lily's well-being than for his own wife's. Why are you doing this, Cane? Audra finally burst out, her voice trembling with both anger and hurt. She stopped pacing, turning to face him, her eyes burning with unshed tears. You're lying to me. You've been lying to me all this time. And for what? For her. Her voice rose, the betrayal coursing through her veins, choking her on its bitterness. For Lily. Cane, who had been sitting at the desk, stiffened at her words. He had expected this confrontation, but it still hit him like a punch to the gut. He stood slowly, meeting her gaze. Audra, it's not what you think. But the words fell flat, and Audra's patience snapped. She took a step toward him, her eyes flashing with fury. Don't you dare say that. I can see it. I can feel it. All these weeks I've been trying to tell myself I was imagining things, that I was just paranoid. But now I know the truth. She swallowed hard, her chest heaving with emotion. You're falling for her, aren't you? You're letting Lily come between us, Cane. And I won't stand for it anymore. Audra's hands shook with the raw intensity of her words. You think I'm stupid. You think I don't see how much you care for her. The way you talk about her, the way you look at her. She cut herself off, her voice breaking. How could you do this to me after everything we've been through? We're married, Cane. We have a family. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. Cane stood frozen, unsure of how to respond. He had always prided himself on his ability to control situations. But this was different. The woman in front of him wasn't just his wife, she was the mother of his child, the woman he had vowed to protect. And yet here she was accusing him of betraying her. I didn't mean for it to happen, Cane said, his voice low and strained. He stepped closer to her, trying to reach her, but Audra recoiled, shaking her head. I never wanted to hurt you, Audra. You have to believe that. But his words fell on deaf ears. Audra had had enough. She felt a sudden surge of desperation, of powerlessness. She couldn't stand the thought of Cane slipping further away from her. Not when everything they had built together was slipping through her fingers. "No," she hissed. "You don't get to do this. You don't get to play me like this. I'll make sure the whole world knows what's been going on. You think you can keep this secret forever? I'll take our son to Nice and I'll make sure everyone knows who you really are." She looked him dead in the eye, her tone sharp, her resolve unshakable. "You'll never hide from this, Cane. I won't let you." Her words hit Cane harder than any physical blow could have. The idea of losing her, of losing everything, was terrifying. His breath hitched as he reached out for her, his voice pleading. "Audra, please don't do this. Please listen to me. I swear everything I've done for this family, for you, for us." Audra and Cane's eyes filled with tears, but her anger still held her firm. "Then why, Cane? Why does everything feel like a lie? Why does it feel like I'm the one you're sacrificing for her?" Cane stood there helpless for a moment, the weight of her accusation pressing down on him. He had never been this vulnerable, never been this exposed. His mind raced as he searched for the right words. But the truth was, he didn't know how to fix this. He had made mistakes, yes, but he still loved Audra, and yet, the pull he felt toward Lily, toward the woman who had always been a constant in his life, despite the drama and chaos they had both endured, was undeniable. "I'm sorry," Cane whispered, his voice softening. Full of regret, he took a step closer, his hands outstretched toward her. "I never meant to hurt you. Please believe me. This thing with Lily, it's complicated, but it's nothing compared to what we have." "Nothing." Audra looked at him for a long moment, her chest rising and falling as she tried to steady herself. She wanted to believe him. She really did. But the hurt was so deep, and the fear of losing him to someone else was too great to ignore. She glanced away, her voice trembling. "I can't keep doing this, Cane. I can't keep pretending everything's fine when it's not. You've got to choose. You can't have both." Cane felt his heart ache as he watched the tears glisten in her eyes. This was it, the breaking point. He couldn't let her go. Not like this. With a deep breath, he stepped forward, his hands reaching for her shoulders, pulling her into a gentle embrace. "Audra," he said softly, his voice filled with sincerity. "You are my choice. I swear to you, I love you. All I've ever done was for us, for our future. Please don't let this tear us apart. Trust me. Trust that I'll make it right. Don't let fear destroy us." Audra stood still in his arms, her body rigid with tension, her mind battling between the anger that had driven her and the love that still lingered in the depths of her heart. Finally, she exhaled slowly, her shoulders sagging as the fight drained from her. "I'm scared, Cane," she whispered, her voice barely audible. "I'm scared of losing you." Cane pulled her closer, his voice thick with emotion. "You're not going to lose me. I promise. I'll fix this. I'll fix everything." As they stood there, the weight of their shared pain and love hanging between them, Cane knew that their journey ahead wouldn't be easy. But with Audra's trust still intact, however fragile, they had a chance to rebuild. It wasn't going to be simple. Nothing about their life together ever had been, but one thing was clear. If he was going to make things right, he had to prove to Audra and to himself that their family meant more than anything else. Meanwhile, as the echoes of their confrontation settled, the question remained: could Cane and Lily continue their relationship? Could the fragile trust between Audra and Cane survive the storm that was about to hit? This expansion dives deep into the emotions of the characters, exploring the complexities of their relationships while keeping the dramatic stakes high. If you need further modifications or additions, feel free to let me know. Subscribe our channel for more latest update. The transcript from The Young and the Restless reveals a deeply emotional and tense confrontation between Audra and Cane and Victor, set against a backdrop of deception, betrayal, and complicated relationships. Audra is visibly distraught and emotionally worn down from living a life filled with lies and manipulation, particularly involving Victor's betrayal and the complex dynamics within her marriage to Cane. She confesses her inability to continue pretending and lying, expressing her frustration and identity crisis. Cane, though initially calm and authoritative, reveals a vulnerable side as the weight of their shared secrets and plans presses on him. The tension escalates when Victor unexpectedly interrupts, exposing the power struggle and manipulation at play. Audra boldly declares her independence, refusing to be a pawn any longer, which threatens the entire plan that Cane and Victor had been orchestrating. Subsequently, Audra confronts Cane about his growing affection for Lily, feeling betrayed and sidelined in their marriage. Cane struggles to explain his complicated feelings, but Audra's pain and anger are overwhelming. Despite Cane's pleas and assurances of love and commitment, Audra demands that he choose between her and Lily, signaling a breaking point in their relationship. The scene ends on a fragile note of reconciliation, with Cane promising to fix their fractured family, but leaving open the uncertainty of whether trust and love can truly survive the betrayals and secrets. The narrative captures the emotional turmoil, complex character motivations, and the escalating stakes that drive the story forward. Highlights: Audra's emotional breakdown reveals the heavy toll of living a life filled with lies and betrayal. Cane's calm exterior masks deep internal conflict and desperation to maintain control. Victor's sudden entrance heightens the tension, revealing the dangerous power dynamics at play. Audra confronts Cane about his apparent affection for Lily, exposing cracks in their marriage. Audra's declaration of independence challenges the manipulative plans of Cane and Victor. Cane's heartfelt plea to Audra underscores his struggle to balance love and complicated loyalties. The story ends on a cliffhanger, with the future of Cane and Audra's relationship uncertain. Key insights: the emotional cost of deception. Audra's unraveling highlights how prolonged deception damages not only relationships but also personal identity. Her confession underscores the psychological strain of living a double life, particularly when one feels used as a pawn in larger schemes. This insight reflects the human cost behind manipulative power plays in complex dramas. Cane's duality of control and vulnerability. Cane's character embodies the tension between maintaining a facade of control and grappling with inner turmoil. His initial authority gives way to vulnerability when confronted by Audra's accusations, showing how even those perceived as emotionally strong can be deeply conflicted. This duality enriches his character and adds depth to the narrative. Power struggles intensify conflict. Victor's interruption is a pivotal moment, symbolizing the external forces exacerbating the internal conflicts between Cane and Audra. Victor represents the manipulative puppeteer, whose presence escalates the stakes and forces characters to confront uncomfortable truths. This highlights how external antagonists fuel narrative tension. Complexity of marital fidelity and emotional loyalty. Audra's confrontation about Cane's feelings for Lily introduces a nuanced exploration of emotional infidelity. It's not just physical betrayal but emotional distance and divided loyalties that fracture relationships. This insight reflects modern relationship complexities and adds realism to the drama. Audra's empowerment as a turning point. Her decision to stop being a pawn and to take control of her narrative is a significant moment of empowerment. It challenges traditional victim roles in soap operas, presenting a character who, despite vulnerability, asserts agency. This shift in power dynamics is crucial for character development and plot progression. The fragility of trust in relationships. The transcript poignantly captures the fragile nature of trust when tested by secrets and betrayals. Both Cane and Audra struggle to reconcile their love with the realities of deception, illustrating how delicate trust is and how difficult rebuilding it can be. This theme resonates universally in narratives about strained relationships. Uncertainty as a narrative driver. The unresolved ending, with Cane promising to fix things but the future unclear, exemplifies how uncertainty propels storytelling. It keeps the audience engaged, highlighting that in complex emotional dramas, resolutions are rarely simple or immediate, reflecting real-life complexities of love and betrayal. This detailed exploration not only conveys the emotional intensity of the scenes but also offers a deeper understanding of character motivations, narrative mechanics, and thematic significance within the storyline.